And welcome to another Topic Buster. So today we're going to be looking at averages from a list, from a table and from a grouped frequency table. Enjoy! Hi, welcome to another Topic Buster. So we're looking at averages today. Now mostly, not always, on the exam average questions are generally quite straightforward if you know the process, especially from a table. They do get creative occasionally, but not very often. So the methods we're going to show you in this video will apply to all averages questions, or 99% of them that you're going to find in the exam. We're also going to have a look at other things that they might ask you to do with the group frequency table. Okay, so we're given a list of numbers at the top and we're asked to find the mode and the range. So the mode is the one that comes up the most, and I can see there that there are two 5s, so the mode is 5. The range is the biggest, take away the smallest, so I'm going to do the biggest, which is 5, take away the smallest, which is 2, and that will give me a range of 3. Next we're asked to find the mean. Now the mean is when you add up all the numbers and divide by the amount of numbers that there are. So I'm going to do 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 2. And I can use a calculator for that, and that's 19. And then I'm going to divide it by the amount of numbers there are. Well, there's 5 numbers, so I'm going to do that divided by 5. That's going to give me an answer of 3.8. And that's my answer. Now for the median, there's a step you've got to do first, and you've got to put them in order of size. It doesn't matter whether you do it biggest to smallest, but I always do smallest to biggest. So 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 5. Now, what you're probably used to is crossing off one from both sides. So you can cross off one from both sides and then another from both sides, and the one you're left with in the middle is the median. But to help us with stuff we're doing later on, we're going to do the median in a different method. This method is just a simple formula, n plus 1 over 2. N stands for the amount of numbers you have. So the amount of numbers we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to do 5 plus 1 over 2. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now you might be asking, well, hang on, the median's 4, not 3. That 3 tells us the position of the median. It tells us it's in the third position. So if we count 1, 2, 3. So the median is that third one, which is 4. So the median is 4. We will need to use this for the topics we cover later on. Okay, have a go. Okay, so first of all we're going to find the mode. Now the mode's the one that comes up the most, which is 3. And the range is the biggest, take away smallest. So the biggest here is 5, and the smallest is 1. So 5 take away 1 is 4. So the mode is 3, and the range is 4. Next we're going to find the mean. So we're going to add up all the numbers. So 3 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 1. Okay, adding that up, I think that makes 18. And then we're going to do that number, 18, divided by the amount of numbers. Now I know there's 6 numbers, and this works nicely. 18 divided by 6, which is 3. Okay, lastly we're going to do the median, so put them in order of size. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to use the formula again, so n plus 1 over 2. There are 6 numbers, so it's going to be 6 plus 1 over 2, which is 7 over 2. Now it's not a whole number, it's going to be 3.5. So it's the 3.5th value. Well, when you have a decimal here, you have to look at 2 numbers. So we're looking at the third number and the fourth number, because 3.5 is halfway between 3 and 4. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we're lucky because these are both the same number, but if they weren't the same number, you would add them together, divide by 2. 3 plus 3 is 6, divide by 2 is 3. Or just find the number that's halfway between them. It's the same thing. So we know the median here is going to be 3. Okay, so we have the same question again, but this time the information is given to us in a frequency table. But the way we answer it is almost the same, as long as we keep reminding ourselves that frequency means how many. So 2 of these matches, 0 goals were scored. 5 of the matches, 1 goal was scored. And 3 of the matches, 2 goals were scored. So I could write this as 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. Nearly slipped in a 3 there, but there are no 3's on there. The 3 is the frequency, it's how many times there's a 2. So we need to find the mode and the range first. Now the mode is the one that's most frequent. Well, there were 5 1s, so 1 is our mode. The range is still the biggest take away smallest, so the biggest we have there is 2, the smallest we have there is 0. Remember to look at the left hand side when you're working out the range. 2 take away 0 is just 2, and that's our range. Okay, now to find the mean, we've got to first of all work out what the numbers add up to. So what we do is we add on an extra column, and I call this an fx column. And we find the numbers in it by multiplying the goals, or whatever's in the first column, by the frequency. So I'm just putting time signs down all of that. So 0 times 2 is 0. That means that 2 matches, 0 goals were scored. So adding those 2 zeros together, 0. 5 of those games, 1 goals were scored. So 5 times 1, or 1 times 5, is 5. So there were 5 goals altogether. And in 3 of the matches, 2 goals were scored. So that means there's 6 goals in that altogether. Okay, then underneath that, what I'm going to do is add up all of the goals that were scored. So 0 plus 5 plus 6 is 11. And I'm going to add up how many matches there were. So 2 plus 5 plus 3 is 10. So to work out the mean, it's always going to be the same. It's always going to be adding them all up. When I've done that, I've got 11. And divide that by how many matches there were, or how many numbers there were, and there was 10. So 11 divided by 10 is 1.1. It's absolutely okay to get a decimal for a mean. Now, to work out the median, we do exactly the same method as we did before. So we're going to do n plus 1 over 2. N we find over here. It was how many matches there were. There were 10 matches in total. So it's 10 plus 1 over 2. 10 plus 1 is 11 over 2. And that gives me 5.5. So we're looking for the 5.5th value. Well, no, we're not. We're looking for the 5th and the 6th value, and then we're going to find out what numbers in between them. So looking at the table, I know that there were 2 in the first group, so 1, 2. The next 5 were in the next group. Okay, so we've got the first 2 in the top group. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so the 5th and 6th values are in this group. So the median is 1. Now people do struggle with working out where the median is, but just count down however many from the top you have to get to get to the median. Okay, have a go. Okay, so let's find the mode first. So we can see this time in 11 of the games 0 goals were scored, so 0 is going to be the mode. The range is biggest take away smallest, so same as before, 2 take away 0, which is 2 for the range. The mean, do as we did before, we're going to add an extra column on here, probably use a ruler, and I call this the fx column. And we're going to do 0 times 11, which is 0, 1 times 6, which is 6, and then 2 times 3, which is also 6. add these up. So 0 plus 6 plus 6 is 12. And then 11 plus 6 plus 3, which is 20. And we're going to do 12, which is the amount of goals scored in total, divided by 20, which is the amount of matches. And 12 divided by 20 is going to be 0.6. Okay, now we're going to find the median, so we're going to use that formula again, n plus 1 over 2. This time there's 20 matches, so 20 plus 1 over 2, 21 over 2, which is going to be 10.5th value. So we need to look at the 10th and the 11th. Now, since the first 11 are in the first group, so the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, and 11th, they're both in that first group, so it's going to be 0. Okay, so this question looks completely different. Actually, it's pretty much the same thing. This time, though, we've got groups instead of actual numbers. It just means that we don't actually know what the numbers were. So this is some context about some plant heights or something, I don't know. But 8 of them were between 0 and 10. 3 of them between 10 and 20. 2 of them between 20 and 30. But it's impossible to find out exactly how many were 2, for instance, whatever the units are. Okay, we do this pretty much the same way. So that this time it's the modal class. Class just means group, so if you have a class of students, it's a group of students. So for this answer, we're looking for one of the 3 in the left-hand column. So I've got to do 0 to 10, 10 to 20, or 20 to 30. Now, looking at it, the one with the highest frequency is that first one, because it's got 8. So there were 8 between 0 and 10. Now be careful, you have to copy down exactly what it shows in the question. So I can't just write 0 to 10. I've got to just copy it down exactly. It says estimate range. Well, we don't know what the biggest and smallest were, but we know the biggest possible one was 30, and we know the smallest possible one was 0. So 30 take away 0 is 30. Now we're going to estimate the mean. So we're going to do the same as we did before, but this time I can't do 0 to 10 times 8, so I've got to do another step first. And this other step is finding the midpoint. So instead of 0 to 10, I've got to pick a number that represents that group. Well, if I pick 0, then I'm assuming they're all really low. If I pick 10, I'm assuming they're all really high. The best number to pick is the midpoint, and it's the one you'll be expected to pick in the exam. So the midpoint is halfway between 0 and 10, which is 5. Halfway between 10 and 20, which is 15. And if you don't know how to find halfway, just add the two numbers together and halve it. So 20 plus 30 is 50, half of that is 25. Now I can continue as I did before and add my fx column, or this time it's fh, because it's h the first column. So I'm going to just times the frequency by the midpoint, and that's all I'm going to do. So 8 times 5, which is 40. 3 times 15, which is 45. And then 2 times 25, which is 50. Then I'm going to do the same as before. I'm going to add up the two columns that I need. The FH column tells me what they were all added together it gave us, so that's going to be 135. The frequency column tells us how many there were. That's going to be 13. Okay, so I'm going to divide them the same way as I've done before. So the total amount, 135, divided by the amount of numbers, which was 13. I'm going to need my calculator for this one. So that gives me 10.4 when rounded to 1 decimal place. Okay, so the median is exactly the same as we've done before. We just use the formula, n plus 1 over 2. N is 13, so it's 13 plus 1 over 2. So it's 14 over 2, which tells us the median is the 7th value. Looking at the table, the first 8 values are in the first group, so it's definitely going to be in that first group. So the group containing the median is that first group, which is 0 to 10. Okay, have a go. Okay, so modal class first. So the frequency 2, 3 and 6, well 6 is the highest frequency, so it's that 40, 60 group. Make sure I copy it down exactly as it is. And the highest possible range is 60, highest possible value is 60, smallest is 0, so the range is going to be taking those away from each other, so 60. Okay, estimating the mean, I'll need to add our midpoint column onto the table. So our midpoint column, 0 to 20, so the midpoint's going to be 10. 20 to 40, the midpoint's going to be 30, and 40 to 60, the midpoint's going to be 50. I'm going to times those lot together to get my FH column. So 2 times 10, which is 20, 3 times 30, which is 90, and 6 times 50, which is 300. Okay, let's add these up. 410. And then let's add up our frequencies. So that's going to be 11. Then to find the mean, I do 410 divided by 11, which using the calculator is going to be 37.3 when rounded to one decimal place. Okay, it might tell you in the question what's rounded to. If not, just round it to something sensible. And to finally the median, I'm going to use my formula, n plus 1 over 2. Okay, there's 11 values. It's 11 plus 1 over 2, 12 over 2, means we're looking for the 6th value. Okay, so the first 2 are in the first group, then the next 3 are in the second group. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So from 6th value onwards, it's in that last group. So the median is going to be in that last group. Perfect. Okay, so we've got some quite different questions, but these questions aren't averages, but they will involve the grouped frequency table. So we're first of all asked to draw a frequency polygon. And the important thing to remember with a frequency polygon is you plot the points at the midpoints of each group. So first one is 0 to 4, and I want to plot it at 5. So I'm going to plot it at the midpoint, so 2 and 5. I don't have any squares on here, so it's about halfway in between. 4 to 8 will be 1 at the midpoint, which is 6. We're just halfway between 4 and 8. And the last one is going to be 2. Now, I haven't fully answered the question yet. You need to join them with straight lines. Now, I can't currently do that at the moment, so I'm going to try my best. And they need to join up each of the points. That's roughly good. That's like a sketch of a good one. But with your square paper and your ruler, you should be able to make it absolutely perfect. So remember, frequency polygons go in the midpoint and just join them up with straight lines. Some people try and join up the last 2 remaining points. Don't. Just join them up from left to right. You will sometimes lose a mark for doing that. Okay, find probability of more than 4. It's a clumsy question, I've just tried to fit it in. It will say some context that one thing, whatever the heck we're talking about, probably people running a race or something, and find the probability of that one of them is picked and is more than 4 seconds, minutes, whatever it is. So to do this, we need to look at, well, how many were more than 4? Well, this one here is more than 4, and these 2 here are more than 4. Okay, that top one is 4 to 8, and the other 2 are 8 to 12. So there are 3 that are more than 4, and to do probabilities, you put that over with how many there were in total. So there were 8 in total, because we've got the 5 at the top as well. So it's 3 over 8. It's that simple. Now find the percentage that 1 is picked and it's more than 6. I think that's meant to be more than 8. Let's just change that now. Whoops. Okay, so looking at that, there are 2 that are more than 8. And there are 8 in total. And to do a percentage, you just times that by 100. Now I know that 2 over 8 is 1/4, which is 0.25. 0.25 times 100 is going to be 25%. Okay, have a go. Okay, so first thing to do is the frequency polygon. Our first group is 0 to 2, so I'm going to plot it at 1, and the frequency is 1 as well. Next one is 2 to 4, so I'm going to plot it at 3, and it's going to be up to 4. It's about there. And last one's 4 to 6, and I'm going to plot that at 3, so it's about there. Then join them up with a straight line. And there we are, frequency polygon done. Okay, this time it says find the probability of less than or equal to 4. So let's have a look and see how many are less than or equal to 4. So this one here is less than or equal to 4, and this one here is less than or equal to 4. So it's 5 that are less than or equal to 4 over, well, there's another 3 in total, so that's going to be 5 over 8. And it's absolutely fine to leave it as a fraction, unless it asks you for it as a decimal or percentage. Then it says find the percentage of more than 4. So looking at that, more than 4 is that one there. So it's going to be that 3 over the total, which is 8. And to find percentages, we just times by 100. So using the calculator, 3 divided by 8 times 100 is going to be 37.5%. I hope that was useful, and just remember the process is to find the mean, the formula to work out the median. I know that most students will probably need most practice with understanding how to use the number you get from n plus 1 over 2 to the answer. Don't forget also that when they're asking you for a modal class, they're just looking for the group which came up the most, and you just copy that answer down, and then that's it. It's normally a mark, but it's definitely an easy mark and one that everyone should get. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.